The siren screamed down our quiet suburban street like some bad movie scene. Barbara stood in my driveway waving her arms like a deranged traffic cop. She screamed into her phone that I had turned the neighborhood into a circus. I leaned against my porch railing and tried not to laugh at the pure insanity. My name does not matter, but I am just a regular guy who wanted peace. After years in the noisy city, we moved to Willow Creek for the calm life. The backyard was huge and perfect for my 2 little kids to play safely. I built a simple wooden swing set with fresh paint and sturdy chains. The kids laughed every afternoon while swinging high under the blue sky. 2 weeks later, the first nasty email landed in my inbox like a bomb. Barbara wrote that my swing set was tacky and ruined the aesthetic standards. I replied politely with photos proving it stayed hidden from the street view. She did not care and sent a certified fine for $500 instead. I paid it just to keep the fragile peace, but resentment started to build. My wife rolled her eyes at dinner and called it a ridiculous power trip. Barbara began patrolling my block daily with her clipboard and smug expression. She left passive-aggressive notes on my mailbox about neighborhood harmony. Rumors swirled at the community pool that I was the guy with the ugly swing. Friends suddenly stopped inviting us to weekend barbecues without explanation. The isolation stung, but I stayed calm and started documenting every interaction. I refused to let her small-minded rules ruin our new suburban dream home. That is when I decided to fight back in the most spectacular way possible. I spent weeks studying every HOA bylaw and every city permit requirement. Recreational structures were allowed if they passed safety inspections and codes. I found a company selling certified full-size vintage Carnival Ferris wheels. The price was steep, but the satisfaction of legal revenge felt priceless. Delivery trucks rumbled in at dawn and workers unloaded massive steel parts. By sunset, the wheel stood 40 feet tall, gleaming under the bright sun. My kids cheered wildly as the colorful gondolas began their first slow spin. Barbara spotted it the very next morning and marched straight to my fence. Her face turned beet red as she demanded I remove the monstrosity immediately. I handed her copies of every permit with a calm and steady smile. She snatched the papers but refused to listen to a single word I said. Her emails flooded the neighborhood listserv calling my yard a commercial eyesore. Parents received warnings not to let children near my dangerous new addition. The social shunning grew worse until even the mailman avoided eye contact. My wife came home from the store in tears about the whispered gossip. I kept recording every conversation on my phone because I saw trouble coming. Barbara cornered me in the driveway one afternoon and hissed a clear threat. She promised to make my life miserable until I complied with her demands. That recorded threat became pure gold in the growing evidence folder. Police showed up twice on her noise complaints but found nothing illegal. Each time the officers left shaking their heads at her obvious overreaction. Then she escalated by calling 911 claiming a public emergency. Sirens blared again as 2 squad cars pulled up with lights flashing. She told them my wheel was endangering the entire neighborhood with terror. I walked the officers through the yard and showed every certification paper. They even took a complimentary spin and laughed the whole situation off. Her credibility cracked right there in front of the flashing blue lights. I spent late nights compiling a complete timeline of her harassment campaign. Every email, every fine, every threat, and every trespassing video went in. Security footage clearly captured her sneaking into my yard for sneaky photos. The HOA emergency board meeting became the perfect stage for my counterattack. The community center was packed with curious neighbors filling every chair. Barbara sat at the head table looking smug in her usual power suit. She opened the meeting by listing my supposed violations as the top item. When my turn came, the entire room fell into complete expectant silence. I projected every slide slowly and explained the pattern of selective enforcement. The trespassing video played loud and clear on the large projection screen. Gasps rippled through the crowd when her threatening email filled the display. Board members shifted uncomfortably as the evidence kept stacking higher. One member asked her directly about the recorded threats, and she stuttered. Her face went pale as the chair silenced her frantic attempts to interrupt. They deliberated for only minutes before the unanimous vote was announced. Barbara was removed as president effective immediately for clear misconduct. She grabbed her purse and stormed out without saying another single word. The new president shook my hand and apologized for the entire ordeal. He confirmed my Ferris wheel could stay permanently under the new rules. Word traveled fast through the subdivision and attitudes flipped overnight. Neighbors started stopping by to ask politely about rides for their kids. We hosted a block party the next weekend with music and laughter everywhere. The wheels spun gently against the twilight sky with twinkling colorful lights. My kids shared gondolas with new friends and pure joy filled the air. I sat on the original wooden swing that started this whole crazy saga. The same swing Barbara once called Tacky now rocked peacefully in the breeze. Barbara kept her lights off early and stayed out of sight these days. The neighborhood finally felt like the calm suburban home we always wanted. Power in the wrong hands always reveals its true ridiculous colors eventually. Sometimes all it takes is one big legal wheel to spin the tables back. The real eyesore was never my backyard but the unchecked neighborhood tyrant.